I grew up in the Eastern Panhandle in the Potomac Highlands in Hampshire County, West Virginia, near Cape and Bridge. I grew up with the kind of the back to the land parents that were trying to get out of the city and found West Virginia as a refuge. The whole homestead house and the mother always going out into the on hikes with us and trying to see what we could eat and what we couldn't. And as a small child, I always was more fascinated with the mushrooms than the plants. Yeah, even though I still love both of them. um, and then I later moved to Elkins during high school. So I ended up going to Davis and Elkins. That's my alma mater. And at the time I was at Davis and Elkins, that's when I met my wife, and we started to become more interested in reading. We would go out on hikes together and find all these mushrooms. A lot I was familiar with, and I knew some of the things we could eat, but I started really diving into it with a little more depth, and started reading things like Paul Stamets and other mycologists, which just, as Jenny said, to clarify, mycology is just the world of studying fungus or fungi, which mushrooms are a part of. So a lot of times when we think of mycology, we just think of mushrooms, but there's a lot of other stuff within that category, and scientists are always reclassifying stuff under where it fits within that category. Fungi is a very evolving area of biology. Um, but I, in college, started to dive more into that, and I worked at a wastewater treatment plant in Philippi. So if you lived in Philippi, West Virginia in the early 2000s, helped make sure that your water was clean, and I did the best job I could. But I also at that job had access to a lot of equipment like autoclaves and things, and I was learning, you needed some of this equipment to grow mushrooms, and that's when I got into the actual side of how do you grow mushrooms. And since then, it really grew as a passion as I worked in my the area, the profession that I went to school for at Davis and Elkins, psychology, for about 15 years. I kept going back to workshops. I always spent every vacation I had living out of state, I would come back to West Virginia and go camping. So that it was kind of always where my heart was. So whenever I get the chance to do things like teach somebody about mushrooms, it's so exciting and fun for me, and it's an excuse to be a kid and get into the woods.